ladies and gentlemen, we are back. That is Caleb, Rob, and myself being Travis with another episode of DNA's The Dosage podcast, available on all podcast platforms around the universe. What's going on, guys?
That's a pretty wide audience.
Do you know we're on the sound waves?
Was that a new update that you forgot to tell us about?
Yeah, so we got accepted to yet another URL extension with our podcast, and it is now universal.
Nice.
We're that big.
The Universal World Audio Congress, was that? I missed that email.
Yeah, I think that was the one. So we're back, guys. Welcome. This is 105 of the Dosage. Tonight's theme, we're talking about our favorite. We're making a list together. Well, separately, we're sharing our own lists, but the top 10 PlayStation 4 exclusives. Based on our last episode, we talked a little bit about launch titles, and then we kind of dove and hinted at the idea of, what was exclusive and the hint at the war, if you will, that we haven't really dove into yet. But are you guys ready to talk about your favorite top 10s?
Yeah. I feel like this is pretty normal. I think for most of us when we've done these lists, like bottom parts of my list are like I could shift this, move that, but it's probably just worth leaving where it is. But yeah, I think I'm good.
What about you? You feeling confident?
I did a lot of shuffling myself, but I made a list.
Every day you're shuffling?
I checked it twice.
You checked it twice?
What happened?
Yeah.
What happened to what? What now?
Every day I'm shuffling.
Who was that, LMFAO?
They disappeared after that kind of, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they said they were taking a break.
Ooh.
They were just too good. Understandable, though, I get it.
Are we diving right in, or is there any...
Yeah, so that's the itinerary. And we'll have our closing segments, but the bulk of today's episode, we're just going to start at number 10, go in a circle, much like if you had seen our Christmas special, the hot ones. If you haven't, do yourself a favor, because we talked about the top 10 of the last decade. We're in a new decade now. So...
That's so many decades.
There's a lot of decades. We've been around a lot. Look at it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're in our 5th decade of living.
I don't care for what you just said to me.
I'm only in my 4th.
Or about me.
You're 90s, baby?
Yeah, 91.
Oh, man.
Suckers.
Man, so you're in your 4th.
Well, at least someone will be around to inherit the brand when we die of old age.
Oh, it's so depressing.
Welcome to the show.
It's all you, Caleb. I guess with that, who wants to go first? We'll go in a circle. You can give a background story if you want to elaborate on your pick. If you have nothing to say, then we could just go to the next. Who wants to kick it off?
I will. I'll go ahead and take the helm here if you guys don't mind. Is the helm? Is that the right word there I wanted to use?
That's a word.
Sure, it is a word.
It's appropriate.
So for the listeners out there, and obviously you guys know, I'm not sure I don't play a variety of games. I'm a rather casual gamer, so I did kind of struggle to get 10 off of the exclusives list, but there were 10 that I actually did play. So there's that. I'm not breaking the rules too much this time. However, the first one, or 10th one on my list is we mentioned it a couple, maybe last episode. It's The Playroom. So not really a game, but it is a PS4 exclusive. I did just boot it back up before we started recording today to look back into it and figure out. It is really reliant on having the camera, and I don't have the camera. So I don't even have any of the trophies. I feel like maybe you can get them, but
drink it in,
I did play around. It'll let you fake stuff, and if you don't have the camera, you can still shake your remote and hear the little dudes in there. But that is the 10th one on my list.
That was a launch title, right? We talked about it in our last episode.
Yeah, it was a launch title, but and you cannot play PlayStation's The Playroom on Xbox. So it is a PlayStation
or PC.
Or PC.
Or PC. Yeah. So, no, that fits the requirement of being an exclusive. Yeah. Quick shout out to chat for joining us, Redbeard, and Smalls for 13 months subscription to our Twitch channel where we're recording this live. So thank you for for 13 months 13. In a row now. That's incredible. Thank you.
That's
That's a year plus one.
Made it into the new year.
Yeah. That means every month last year, and now kicking off 2020. The loyalty, incredible.
Well, if my math's correct, it'll be 14 rather soon, potentially, if our luck continues.
God, I hate math. Like, that's a really difficult one to solve. 13 and then the next.
A few days away.
Yeah, I mean, why even ruin 13 by going further?
It's true.
All right.
No, it's a great way to start the playroom. I think that's a great way to kick us off.
Caught you off guard, didn't I?
You really did. I didn't think that'd be on anyone's list. Go for it, Rob. Go for it.
All right. Mine was not quite as hardcore as the Playroom. Caleb, I don't want to disappoint you. But my number 10 was 2016's Ratchet and Clank. I'm a huge fan of that series. I was mad at myself for sleeping on it for so long. The first one I ever played was on PS3. The little DLC, not DLC game, but like it was the PlayStation equivalent to the Xbox Live Arcade style stuff. And it was the Quest for Booty, and it just cracked my shit up. So when this one came out, I snatched it up, and I had an absolute blast with it. I love these kind of old school platformers, and I like the franchise in general. A lot of good comedy, some strong gameplay elements. Made it to my top 10.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree there.
I'll be honest with you, I've only watched people play that one.
Did I stream that one?
Yeah.
I think I did.
You did. I've only watched you, and then obviously others play. I've never actually played that. And
is it do you guys? I mean, it's fair to say. I'm assuming there's going to be quite a lot of crossover here. If this were to be on my list, should I maybe save my comments for my entry?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And your reasons why, I think that's appropriate.
No, and that's just as a theoretical. That was just like a
So what he's saying is his next pick was Ratchet and Clank.
The next four of mine are actually also the Playroom. So.
Just the sub mini games, and one of them was secretly PlayStation All Stars.
I feel like when I actually looked it up, I feel like there was DLC for this, and I can't imagine how. I want to do more research on that later.
If anyone was going to troll a listener, I feel like it would be Caleb, with him being just stone cold, just not stone cold,
just straight face.
And then he'll introduce his 9th pick, and then it'll be another aspect of play. Just keep going down his list the whole show. If anyone was going to do that, it'd be him. I guess we'll find out if that's going to be what happens.
There's only one way to find out.
So before I do my number 10 here, I actually want to play a bit of a guessing game. You don't have to say yes or no, but let's see if we can guess each other's number 1 pick, and we won't confirm it. We'll see if we're right in our assumptions when we get to our number 1 pick. I'm going to guess Rob's first, since I'm pretty confident in that one. And again, don't confirm. We'll just see if my pick is accurate. I'm going to go with God of War for Rob's number 1. And with Caleb, I'm going to go with Spider-Man.
Okay. I'm going to go with... I don't know Rob's gaming habits as much. So I'm just going to tag team on the God of War. Then I'm going to, I guess, regurgitate Spider-Man onto Travis's top pick.
For Caleb, I'm going to guess the Playroom. Honestly, man, it's you said you gave us the small heads up that everything on your list is something you actually played.
I did.
But I'm finding that you and I have not really talked about what you have played all that much, so I couldn't even venture a guess.
This is going to be a fun episode. I think that's
And aggravatingly, despite how often Travis and I talk games, we don't really talk PlayStation games all that much.
Oh.
We don't. So this is a very surprising episode for me to have a top 10 list.
Yeah, I was surprised you wanted to do this one first.
Well, there were more exclusives.
Made for a meatier episode, huh?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess if I absolutely have to pick something, Caleb, I'm sorry. I'm just literally going to throw something at the wall. Yeah. I'm going to say Little Big Planet for your number 1, even though I don't even know if you played it, but it seems like the kind of thing you would dig.
Right.
And Travis, I'm actually going to guess Spider-Man as well.
All right. We shall see at the conclusion of this episode how many of us were accurate. So
I'm going to bet money I'm wrong on both.
Hey, you never know.
But we'll see. We'll see.
My 10th pick on this list was actually when we discussed the criteria on whether or not it should be on this list, as it's a remastered title. We all agreed upon, yes, it should be, because it's only available on the PS4, and that game is Last of Us Remastered.
It's a good pick.
It is. I'm anxious for the second one. I enjoyed the first one, but ultimately it's just, I don't know. There are things that I didn't love about it. But this isn't a review about the game.
No,
it's more so why it's 10th and not 1. It was good, but not my favorite. All right. What you got for 9?
9, and sorry for the people out there who were really hoping to hear a lot more about Playroom. 9 for me is Killzone Shadowfall. And Travis might want to plug your ears for this one. The reason I picked this game up is because the character from Killzone is in PlayStation Battle All-Stars. I was really intrigued, so I picked it up and started playing it for a while, and I enjoyed it. It's one of those games kind of right up my alley. That kind of sci-fi first-person shooter stuff. I really, really enjoyed it. I don't think I finished it. There's actually tons of games, actually most games in my life that I don't finish, but I'm just at peace with that part. So I enjoyed it.
I just need the sound effect from Price is Right there.
Yeah. Or just like there's got to be a noise where they win Plinko or something. Me.
No, it's not a positive thing. That's a negative sound effect I want.
I know, but if you have the negative, I should have the positive.
I got you. That damn game. That'll be forever an ongoing theme, I feel, on these shows.
It always will. Yeah.
It will. All right, so is that me then?
It is you.
Yes.
All right. My number 9 came out in 2014. Not terribly long after the game that it was directly related to. I chose Infamous First Light. For those of you who played Infamous Second Son, Infamous First Light centered around one of the secondary characters whose powers you get to share in the primary game. But it really fleshed out not just the immediate world of Second Son, but the wider world of Infamous, and kind of gave you a little bit more background into what had been going on in the world since the first 2 games. Because you don't really get a ton of world lore in Second Son outside of what's immediately relevant to what you're doing right then and there. And so First Light did kind of flesh it out a little bit further, and I enjoyed that a lot. I like when a series is able to take a wider look at itself without rehashing exactly the same stuff you've already done,
No, I completely agree. Which actually, I'll throw mine out there then too, to piggyback. My number 9 was also Infamous First Light. So good pick.
Wow. I gotta say, I wasn't really expecting that many direct lineups.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had the same thing happen with the hot sauce episode, the game of the decade. It happened repeatedly.
Yeah, that was
if you want to see that happen a lot, go check that episode out.
It was a hot one.
Yeah, especially to be covering so many different people with different styles of gaming that across you name it,
everything. Yeah,
that was definitely cool to watch. So if you haven't watched it, go watch some grown men react or not react to hot sauce.
Mostly react later on in the show.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That was. So do you have any extra thoughts on First Light, or you agree with me and for the same reasons?
Yeah, I mean, I mostly agree. It's a DLC, right? It's expanded upon the same world that was established in the initial game. It used the same maps. It had a lot of the same controls. It just added a new story and a new perspective on things, and just added more depth. And to me, that's enough to make the top 10, but not enough to be a high ranking because it was fairly short.
Sure. And small aside on the DLC thing, it is downloadable only, but it does not require that you own Second Son, apparently.
That's right. It is standalone.
It is standalone. Mm-hmm. So if you played Second Son but not First Light, and you don't have Second Son anymore, don't let that stop you from scooping up First Light.
Yes.
Which one wasn't one of them a PS Plus perk?
First Light was.
Both of them at one time
last year, I
was.
think. Oh, was Second Son?
Yes.
Which one's
First
the
Light.
purple? Which one's the purple looking one?
First Light.
First Light. That's the one that I downloaded when it was PS Plus. I don't think I actually ever touched it though.
You should. I mean, it's not like 60 hours long, but it's good.
Speaking of PS Plus, real quick, this is news related and it's only relevant for this week. This isn't something that's relevant for long term. But if you're listening to it when we are live now, or the week that we recorded this, PS Plus games BioShock Collection, and did you see the other, Rob?
I did. I also saw your what's the word I'm looking for? The thing that you said about doing a thing.
So yeah, the other game is The Sims 4, and if you didn't know, we did a 10-episode series of the DNA cast members, if you will, and their significant others at that time period of DNA. Check out the 10-episode season 1 of the life and deaths. Spoiler alert. Some of the characters, multiple deaths of the DNA crew.
Very plural.
February games?
Those are the February games. Yeah, plus there's the VR one.
I just pulled it up.
Oh, there's a VR one? I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's a third VR one. Bonus.
Oh, snap.
Just looking at my PS Plus, I'm like, you guys are crazy because those games aren't on there right now. I got
that's
an Uncharted
next month.
Yeah.
So,
Caleb, what you got for number 8?
Number 8 would be a launch title, Knack. Just that kind of puzzly platformer style. I enjoyed it just because it was a pretty chill gameplay. I find myself just always getting frustrated with games, and so for one that's typically rather easy, it's just it was a nice, relaxing, and aesthetically pleasing for how fun and kind of a new take on character aesthetics.
Yeah, I dug Knack.
We talked about that in our launch
Here's going to be
episode.
on the next PlayStation Battle All-Stars. Actually, I did not hear that, but that would be sweet.
A future theme for an episode is going to be the top worst games on the PlayStation. Of all PlayStations, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's going to be PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royal.
It's just going to be every other one is going to be PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royal and anything that included Sonic Spinball.
I wanted to like it because it had Parappa the Rapper. And he is amazing. Okay?
Yeah.
I wanted to like it. But man, shout out to Batman in chat. Hey. All right, Rob.
All right, is it my turn to disappoint you?
Oh, no.
It's not PlayStation All-Stars this time.
Okay.
No, my number 8 pick came out in 2015, and it was Until Dawn. One that I never actually played directly, like controller in hand, but I actually was quote-unquote part of a playthrough on more than one occasion. I actually assisted somebody else in getting the platinum, so I've seen the whole game beginning to end multiple times, and I found it to just be an absolute amazing breakthrough in storytelling, in the same way Heavy Rain was for the PlayStation 3, which I really wanted to include but could not for obvious reasons.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not a remaster. They just ported it to the PS4.
Correct. If it had been a remaster, or even if it had been officially part of like a bundle or something, as opposed to just that dual game giveaway thing they did with that and Detroit.
Yeah.
No, it was that and Beyond Two
Beyond
Souls.
Two
I think,
Souls.
it
was the double. Yeah.
But yeah, if it had actually been a remaster, it actually probably would have taken Until Dawn's spot. But alas, Until Dawn was good. Obviously, it made it my top 10 exclusives of all time for the PS4. So, but yeah, I really liked Until Dawn. I thought it was a fantastic piece of gaming, and I would have put Dark Pictures Anthology on here as well, except it is cross-platform. So,
yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it simultaneously released on Xbox and PC.
I think that's something that's probably smart just to remind the listeners out there. This is just for the PS4 exclusive, so by no means is this like top
comprehensive
game on PS4. These are ones that you can only play on the PS4. I keep looking over my list thinking that doesn't look right. Then I remind myself these are just the exclusives.
Yeah. All right, Trav, what you got for number 8?
I just wanted to point out a fun fact about your Until Dawn. That was another one that was available on PS Plus at one time. So
that is true. That was also last year.
Yeah. My number 8 is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. I felt this was a really fun story and a good expansion in the world of Uncharted. And it just played really well. And it was nice having a female, hero that's not Lara Croft. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. That was my 8th pick.
Yeah,
It's a good pick.
I think I've already released this information. I have not touched any of those games, and I do hope to. I did download the Nathan Drake collection here, but yeah, I don't think when I got my Taco Bell PS4, the gold one, it came with Uncharted 3. I think is what that package was, but
It was
whichever it was, and then I sold it back to GameStop. I didn't even open it. I can't remember what else I wanted to get, but all right. On to what number are we at?
You will
7.
be kicking off 7.
So I am going to kind of really group these all together. I've played each one a little bit. MLB The Show, I picked 17 because the cover had Ken Griffey Jr. Classic look, one of those kind of throwbacks. But MLB The Show, always love a good sports game, and these ones never really disappoint. I remember when the show kind of came out with I don't think it was the very first franchise to do it, but when you could be your own player, get drafted, work your way through the ranks. I always thought that kind of system was super cool.
I do like that, and that's one thing that sports games keep you a little bit more engaged with, rather than just franchise. You're just playing through season after season, and then it auto creates players with random names after so many years, and you just don't care anymore. Playing through the career as yourself, it adds that, I don't want to say RPG element, but kinda, because you're getting better at improving your stats into a sports game. So it's a nice touch.
I think what they do well is that it's very much, and I'm a baseball player. I coach baseball. I played baseball in college. It very much makes it feel like you're actually in the game, because if you're an outfielder in the game, they only show you a couple of plays. You don't have to play through the full 9 innings, because as an outfielder, you don't get action in every inning. So that actually was always super cool to me. I feel like they didn't take the shortcut, and they took time out of their production to make sure that it seemed realistic as for which times you would actually be controlling your guy.
Yeah, authentic experience. I like that in the NHL games too, where you have to go to your line change and then you're just kind of watching the game from the bench. So
super cool.
Cool stuff. I like that.
Quick, little shout out, starting in February, so next week, we're going to see the Dose of Nerd audio come back, and eventually there'll be a episode on sports games. So watch out for that for more information.
I can't wait to hear that one. I used to play nothing but sports games for years, probably in the 90s, the late 90s.
Yeah, I just reached out to a buddy who I used to have a sports podcast on, and me and him are going to do an episode. So we're hoping to record that soon, and it'll be, once we get into the episodes, it'll be down there.
We'll be posting links on social media, so stay alert for that.
Look out for that.
Keep your eyes peeled. All right, so that's back to me there. My number 7 came out in 2014, and it was Infamous Second Son, the game First Light was based off of. I am a huge fan of the Infamous franchise. Can never get enough of it, and I'm dying inside waiting for them to come out with a sequel. If you're not familiar with the games, they kind of give you all of the reasons to play it at least twice, because every major branch of the story offers you a moral decision of good guy, bad guy, kind of a comic book dichotomy. And it's just really cool to see that crazy superpowered world play out in a slightly more realistic setting, because this isn't a world where superheroes have just always been around. Superman wasn't always rocking around, and so whatever the crazy happenstance was that triggers everything, because I remember they explained it in the first game, but it was really weird. And so it's the real world kind of trying to deal with that, and you still get to be a crazy superpowered dude running around a city. So it's a good time. I like it a lot.
Redbeard in chat says he wishes they would have put in a remaster out for 1 and 2 so he could play through them again. I couldn't agree more.
Absolutely, yeah.
I would love to play through those again. I don't even know if I have my copies of those games. I want to say there were PS Plus games on the PS3 at one time, so I think I traded my physical copies in. But I don't know. I still have all my collector stuff because I got the bag, I got the statue, and all that stuff. I was that deep into that franchise. So.
Yeah, I definitely still have both of mine.
My 7th pick is one that I think will carry as a potential mascot during the PS5 first 3 years. And that game is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Absolutely.
I think that is a game that has a high potential of a fantastic sequel to showcase the power of the PS5, especially with the ray tracing technology.
Now they're talking about adding co-op.
Right. So, I mean, little things like that and slight improvements to, I don't want to say flawed feature, but imperfect. It'll make it a top candidate for a must-have for that next gen. So, while it's somewhat lower on my list, the only reason is because I never finished the game. So I don't feel like I have enough power to say, yes, this is the best.
Sure.
But that's number 7 for me. Horizon Zero Dawn is a fantastic game. And again, another heroine helming the front. And I love to see that in games. You don't have to
very much looking... Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, you just don't have to have a brute always, to front things. It's nice to see some leading females.
Yeah, it's going to be great to play as her in other games, in the future, because she'll probably pop up in other titles. What's the next number we're looking at?
We are doing 6.
Gonna move on quickly past that point. 6 for me would be the 2018 Spider-Man. Is that the year? Is that right?
So correct. I'm wrong with my assumption. 2018, number 1 then.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, you missed the quip on that one. I did enjoy it. I feel like if I'm trying to think back of just like games I played growing up, once we kind of got to the disc age, I feel like some of those early Spider-Man games were some of my favorites. And so this I felt like it came back to that old kind of beat 'em up style, hit him with the web, beat 'em up, swoop around and just the swinging. We talked about this a lot. I feel like several episodes ago, but just the swinging mechanics, right? It was just fun to move throughout the city. And I feel like I definitely didn't finish the game, but I feel like more time just swinging through the city, trying to make tight moves and just enjoyed that process. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's a solid pick.
I think so.
And a small side note, I haven't been to New York, but the game was kind of based off of that atmosphere. One of my buddies has frequent New York, and he said there's like, even as he traversed through the city, it's like super accurate to like the way New York kind of works and flows, to where there are some small places where he's like, hey, I've been there in real life, and I can't believe that they actually found a way to make it kind of look like that in the game. So I thought that was another kind of thing that just added to the funness of that game.
Yeah, I actually want to
that's really cool.
Add to that. So about a few months before GTA 4 came out, I actually got to spend a week in Manhattan in New York. It was my one and only time there, and it was amazing. It's an amazing city. And then GTA 4 came out. I spent, I think, more time exploring the map of GTA 4 for landmarks than I did, like enjoying the story. I loved the game, don't get me wrong, but I was just more so like captivated by how accurately certain parts of the map were. It was very similar to Watch Dogs with Chicago. So yeah, I can agree that with Spider-Man, attention to detail was greater, especially with a lot of the landmarks and things, and it was a very well done replication, but not obviously to scale. But the closest thing I've seen to a city besides like the true crime games back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so my number 6 came out in 2017, and it's almost like you might know something about this game because Travis just talked about it. It was Horizon Zero Dawn. I put it a little higher up, despite having not really put any time into it myself, because I have seen a significant portion of the game. Something a lot of people are always surprised about with me is that unless I explicitly tell you don't freaking spoil this for me, I tend to not worry about spoilers, because for me the journey in general is as important as the conclusion. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So watching somebody else play a game just really has never bothered me. And I watched Kevin play Not So Silent Bob, who joined me yesterday on the Adventure Pals episode.
So good. Go back and watch that.
Yeah, it was it was so good, if I may say so myself. And I very much enjoyed Horizon. No, I really did. I really enjoyed watching Horizon as much as I did playing a lot of these games, actually. So that was my number 6.
I dig it. So you may have heard this one in the countdown. My number 6 is Until Dawn. And I thoroughly enjoy it. I love horror. I might be the resident horror fan here in DNA still. Love stuff like that. I loved the Telltale games, and it reminded me a lot of that stuff. And my only, I guess, blemish on it is that I was so close to the end of the game, and I had one of the characters die on me, and that really pissed me off because I was doing very well. So there is a lot of replayability because of it, but I just worked so hard to keep a character, specifically that one, alive, and then they died. I was so mad. So mad.
That's how I felt playing Heavy Rain.
Yeah, very same with the one dude that was like tripping and always having to take the meds. What the hell was his name?
Yep.
God, I can't remember. It's been so long.
Norman Jaden, FBI.
Yeah, so, and it was almost towards the end of the game that I lost him. And I was like, come on. Anyways.
Yeah, I feel yeah.
Caleb, hit us with your number 5.
Number 5, and I did a little bit of last-second reconfiguring after starting this list down. So number 5 for me would land us at The Last of Us Remastered. Definitely played it obviously the first time around on PS3.
Wait, did you say number?
No, number 5, whatever number we're on.
I'm hallucinating. Sorry.
It's okay. Any hallucinate sounds, or is that just like
auditory hallucinations?
Yeah, I guess so.
I
You'd be more
specific
specific next time with your style.
Sorry, go ahead.
The Last of Us Remastered. I definitely hopped back into it when I got the remastered version. I feel like did I pay for it? Did it come on my PlayStation? I feel like it came on my PlayStation. I can't remember. But I hopped back in and I talked about this last time. It showed up on one of my lists where just the pure beauty of the game. I think I often is one of the first games I can remember just stopping and looking around. And obviously the remastered version just kind of amplifies that part of it even more. Thoroughly enjoyed the game.
I've just been blown away by how quickly the game got remastered and put on the PS4. Like, they're obviously like continuing the hype of it, but it was just so fast that it got put on there.
Yeah, the turnaround on that remaster was pretty nuts, especially considering we are still sitting here waiting for a remaster of Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, dude. You know, if they do that, though, they have to make the game, like, the engine with the Mass Effect 3.
I can't.
Which is probably the only reason they won't touch it, because they have to basically redo Mass Effect 1.
Oh, yeah, you have to break it and
2 wouldn't take much, but 1 would have to be almost entirely redone.
Do you think we'll ever
Anyway,
see
that's
that?
just my pet peeve. I've seen so many games get remasters and updates, and I want to play Mass Effect again.
Yeah, and I don't want to go back to 1 and play it like that again.
I tried. I tried once after finishing 3, and I was like, holy shit, I'm never getting all of the achievements in this game, because I had them originally on 360.
Yeah,
It's just not going to happen.
No.
So speaking of numerical entries, let's go ahead and move on to my number 5. What do you say?
Let's do it.
I don't have a lot to say about it because Caleb just said it. My number 5 was 2014's Last of Us Remastered.
There you go.
Spectacular game. I loved it on PS3. I loved it even more on PS4. Obviously, you know, as we clarified, the remaster was a PS4 exclusive, but yeah, I mean, everything about the game just screams be in the top 10. So there it is, number 5.
There you go.
Well, days will be gone. Days will be gone before we get to my next one. I don't know. I couldn't think of a good transition. Number 5 is Days Gone. I got nothing. I was trying to think of the spot.
It was a valiant effort.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that, but it was an effort for sure.
It was a try.
I said words. No, Days Gone. you want to talk about a game that got such hype and such build up, and then just kind of was gone. You get it?
Yeah.
Within days. Anyways, I'm going to stop pushing that one.
Yeah, we're too much.
There's no saving it, Travis. Move on.
I enjoyed the game a lot. I had a lot of positive moments with it. Most notably, heading to like caves or where a lot of like the hordes of them, if you will. I specifically remember one moment I was sitting in the living room, probably in the middle afternoon. Atticus was napping, and I explored a cave. I threw something in there, and I maybe had a handful of ammunition and things on me. And I could see just with my brightness settings that there were a few, zombies, if you will, just kind of crouched down in this cave. Well, I think I had some grenade or something. I can't remember what it was specifically. But I startled them. I instigated them to come chasing me out of it. So I'm running out of the cave back to the entrance and going around this little pond to where my motorcycle was. I'm turning around, and, at first it's like a few trickle out. But then, it was like World War Z just pouring out of this cave. It was incredible. We're talking probably 30 or 40 of them were coming out here. And it was madness. And it was in that moment I'm like, we got something special here with this game. And the story was fun. It was a lot of fetch quests, but ultimately I liked the survival craft of the game. I thought, while it's not perfect, like a lot of things on this list, it has a lot of potential, and I truly hope they continue with that series. I think there are a lot of cool things they can do with it. So, Days Gone number.
Next one's Weeks will be gone.
Weeks gone. Well, yeah, it could be like 28 days later, 28 weeks later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an option.
Except it could be good.
Oh, those weren't bad movies. The Rage Virus, you don't like that?
I wanted to like 28 Days Later. There were things about it that bugged me, but we're not talking movies tonight. Let's move on.
That's another show.
Yes. Your top 10 movies that you've ever watched on your PlayStation 4. Go.
Oh God.
I don't feel comfortable saying these on here.
Oh, Caleb. Do we have to bump the rating on this?
Okay. The
Redbeard's got jokes in chat.
we're on.
Yeah. All right. So what does that bring us to? Number 4?
Number 4.
Number 4 for me would be Ratchet and Clank. So for me, this one's a unique. I feel like it's a unique pick for me, especially for it to be so high. This is my first time ever playing Ratchet and Clank, so I don't know if I've delved too deep into kind of my gaming life. But if you look on, I feel like my Twitch profile or just any other place that I kind of talk about it, there's a huge gap in gaming. From basically GameCube, we had a Wii as like a family game, and I played like the Mario game on the Wii. Was it Galaxy? Is that the one?
Yes.
Yeah.
But other than that, I didn't game a whole lot on the Wii other than that. So really from like GameCube all the way through the PS3 when Assassin's Creed 3 came out, I didn't really game. Like I didn't have a system. I didn't play other than just like retro stuff like on my 64 or anything. So I didn't play any of the original ones. I watched my friends play Ratchet and Clank. I'm familiar with them. And so this is my first experience. And I was just, I really, really enjoyed it. The different guns, the different ways you can kind of go about it based off of how you kind of stack your guns up and everything. And I thoroughly enjoyed that game.
Yeah.
Was it awkward silence?
Well, I wasn't sure if he was done and want to step on him for like the 7th time in this one episode. So no, obviously I enjoyed that game as well. It deserves its spot in the top 10. My number 4 was 2016's Uncharted 4.
Oh.
I don't know that I could really ever say enough about this game or this franchise. I love Uncharted. I love Nolan North's portrayal of Nathan Drake. I love Nathan Drake's wit. I love the fact that the game feels like a playable movie often. I love me some Uncharted. That's what I got for you.
What do you think about the upcoming movie?
What upcoming movie? The one that got delayed again because it lost its 6th director? That one?
Yeah. It'll probably be as good as Prince of Persia was or Assassin's Creed was as films. Those were fantastic.
That hurts.
Sorry,
I actually liked Prince of Persia. I thought it was a garbage adaptation of the story, but I thought it was a good, goofy action movie, especially for being PG-13.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Coming soon, a movie podcast by DNA.
That's not what this episode's about.
So yeah, my number 4 is actually one that you were very kind to give me, Rob, and thank you again for that. That'll be God of War.
Mm.
We did an episode on the weekly dosage of this particular game, and
we tried to anyway.
We did try. Oh God, I remember that one was a pretty rough one. You had some technical issues as
started off way worse than it ended.
We had a lot of technical issues in the early days. Man, we didn't know what we were doing. But God of War, no, it's a great game. Blown away again. It was Santa Monica, right? That did this.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, they're a studio that can just. I don't even think they realize the hardware they're working on when they make games, because it seems like it's the next hardware iteration that they're putting on a current gen. Like somehow they make these things look so brilliant in comparison to everything else that's out at that particular time. So it's
just always raising that bar.
Yeah, it was just so seamless, the gameplay and story and just the emotion in it, and it was a great way to reinvent the franchise that was ultimately pretty stale, if you want my honest opinion. So
yeah, I got to be honest. When they first announced the game and said that they were switching all that stuff up, I was like, so it's not God of War anymore. I was really kind of just out of a sense of this is different, kind of against it. And thank God they did what they did, because it completely reinvigorated the franchise, I think.
Oh, it did, and it's got such momentum going into what's next for the PS5. I guarantee it's a top seller for the PS5. Guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
Caleb, hit us with your number 3.
Number 3. I feel like that was like an intro for like a YouTube video.
Wah, 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 wah.
That's perfect. I like it actually.
Number 3 for me would be Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the game. I think I have a very love-hate relationship with open world games, and I think it's because I get so sidetracked so easily. And part of me just loves to kind of do the main kind of conquest and finish that main story, but I can't because there's all these things that are really close. But I think just the idea of these kind of giant mechanical, dinosaur things, and being able to kind of go at them with a bow, I don't know, something about it just really screamed to me, and I really, really loved that game and the aesthetics of it. But I sadly did not finish it.
I mean, it's a long game,
Yeah.
and then if you get the expansion too, like there's a lot.
Frozen Wildlands or something.
Yeah.
Frozen Wildlands.
Yeah. There's a lot to do, and it's not one that you can. It's not an open world game where you could canvas it and try to do specific things. I mean, it's not linear, but you kind of want to stay focused on your game plan of your missions.
Yeah, and for me, somebody who struggles to just play one game just in general, I got really easily, I think I got overwhelmed with the world, and then I started playing something else, and then I feel like I just never went back, and eventually I was like, well, I haven't played this in months, might as well trade it in. So I don't even have it anymore, sadly.
Yeah, been there, so I completely understand.
Yeah, it'll probably pop back up on the PS Plus at some point.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So what is that, number 3 then?
3.
Yes.
My number 3 was 2015's Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection. This one gets a real high spot on my list because specifically it contains one of my games that was in the top 10 of the decade, and that was Uncharted 2. I probably talked way too much about Uncharted 2 when we did the Hot Sauce episode, so I won't ramble a ton. Just like I said with Uncharted 4, all of the same stuff was true for the other 3 games. Uncharted 2, though, just absolutely nailed a certain spot in my heart, except for the last boss. I'll give you credit for that one. Redbeard in chat said F the final boss, and he is not wrong. The final boss of 2 was a huge pain in the ass, but it did not detract from my love of the game or the Nathan Drake collection. So that's my number 3.
That's a fantastic pick. I want to highlight too, you played through when you were doing your was it a completionist run, or it was just a run?
I was just playing through them, yeah.
So you did 1 and 2, both of those from the collection.
Yeah, I've still got 3, 4, and Lost Legacy to do at some point.
Yes. So maybe in the future you'll see the return to that particular game. But if you want to check out our archives on youtube.com/doseofnerdacumen, there is a lock steady playlist containing all of his Let's Plays, and it includes the Uncharted collection 1 and 2 from that particular collection. So check that out.
That was back when I used to do those overly fancy overlays too.
Yeah, we were very
ambitious
and really wanted some certain visuals to things. Now our overlays are very minimalistic, or just don't exist.
I'm a fan of obviously, you guys are doing a lot of work there, but I do like the minimal style too. It's just a good look.
It's just clean.
Yeah.
Plus, it gives room for all the little extensions or widgets, if you will. So, and I like those. Those are fun. Number 3, right?
Yeah.
Number 3?
My number 3 is actually a number 4, and that is Uncharted 4: A Thief's End.
I like how we flip-flopped on that one.
Right? Great game. I liked the throwback story, so you get a little bit of backstory. Spoiler alert on his brother. I loved the nod to Crash Bandicoot. For those that don't know Naughty Dog's roots, right there with Crash. Great game. And we he got it. We played that actually on a Dosage episode. I couldn't tell you the number. I've forgotten now. It's been too long. But check that out with the playlist as well for that. So, but yeah, it's a developer that I've supported, and they ultimately have not disappointed, and they really knocked it out of the park, both with visual as well as gameplay in Uncharted 4. So, very deserving spot at number 3. The only reason it's not number 1 or number 2, because there are 2 other games out there that are better. What are they?
Dun dun dun.
Locke, not you. Caleb, number 2.
So, not gonna lie, this is a very it is. I feel like you guys will laugh in the end of it when you find out what these two games are.
Playroom.
These were very, very close. This one almost beat out the number 1 spot, but it didn't. So for me, number 2 is Tearaway.
Oh,
Did I play Tearaway? I played it on my Vita the first time it came out, obviously, and then they kind of reconfigured it. They weren't calling it a remaster. I think their verbiage was a reimagination. Basically, they needed to change the controls because DualShock doesn't have the same options as a Vita does, obviously with the touchscreen and the touchback.
Right.
But still kind of hop back into this one regardless. And one of the games I did finish all the way through. I don't think I platinumed it though. But thoroughly enjoyed just the different mechanics, kind of the funness of the world. At some points you get to kind of like draw your own kind of paper things to put on your envelope person. And just super cool. Really, really enjoyed the game. If you guys haven't checked it out, definitely recommend it.
It's one I've watched. I haven't played.
Yeah. I don't think I've even watched it. I read a review of it, and it said it was good, and I was like, I'll check that out at some point, and promptly forgot all about it for however long it's been out. So I'll have to go back and check it out.
Yeah, I feel like for me this was I'm assuming a bit of a surprise to most people out there for this to even make any of our lists. But for me, definitely enjoyable.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. Okay, so then my number 2, speaking of things you didn't see coming, was 2018's God of War.
No, I'm wrong.
Womp womp.
Oh, and I know it's number 1 then. Damn it.
Yeah, you do. You should have known.
I should have, but I thought Trevor had a lot of.
No, there was a small part of me that considered changing it, just because my opinion tends to bounce back and forth. But no, my number 2 was God of War. For all of the reasons that we already discussed a moment ago. Reinvigorated the franchise, completely overhauled the way everything worked, was an absolutely huge increase in the way the stories were told, the graphics were insanely better, gameplay was tighter, blah, blah, blah. We could talk about God of War for a whole episode like we did once.
We did. And we
But
didn't
yeah,
even
that's
know yet how amazing it was going to be. That was our
that's
first
true.
time playing it. Well, you and I, right?
Yeah.
No, or did you play?
Some
Oh, who was it
no,
that
no,
played?
it was that other turd
That's right.
because he didn't want to be surprised on the stream,
Oh, I was so
and then he
mad.
still missed something.
I was so mad. I wanted all of us to experience it together.
Yeah. It was still a good episode though. Plus, we got another fun thing for the YouTube archive was the unboxing we did of the PS4 Pro limited edition God of War system
That's right.
and the collector's edition of the game itself. So
That's right. We got images on the Instagrams as well.
yeah, some good content.
Yeah,
I do love watching those. I appreciate that you guys, were able to tame some of those fun things to unbox. Those were fun to watch.
We haven't done an unboxing, God, in forever.
I still haven't opened my Stadia.
Not too late.
I mean, it kind of is too late.
Hey, the service still exists.
For now.
All right, what do you got for us, Trav? What's your number 2?
My number 2, drum roll, please. No, we don't need to do drum roll. Number 2. Number 2, Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
Oh,
it's Spider-Man.
No.
We were wrong. Oh my God.
Thought for sure it was gonna crash.
Guess again. It's not Spider-Man at number 1. Look out. You'll eventually hear my
Oh, that's
number
Kevin
1.
that's angry about that.
Yeah, that's all right though. Spider-Man was a fantastic game. It was the first one in a while that I ultimately couldn't put it down. I remember actually my son, the oldest son, well, the only son I had at that time, he wasn't feeling well that weekend, and Mom was doing something, so he was just kind of couch-ridden, playing with his tablet and just relaxing and watching. He's a big fan of Spider-Man, so he was very engaged with it, and I actually got to put some time into it and thoroughly enjoyed it. Like mentioned earlier, game mechanics, amazing ability to swing around the city, good story. I mean, damn good story. We're talking emotionally driven story without spoilers. And fun fact, it is the one and only platinum on the Sony PlayStation that I've ever obtained. I know, right? And
Wow.
then shout out again to Locke. Thank you so much for the DLC. You got me that last year for my birthday. So, but yeah, my one
Money
and
well
only
spent.
one and only platinum is with Spider-Man. It was, to me, it was that good. So, I'm not a big trophy hunter. I was an achievement hunter, and I used to play all my games with the sole intent of getting all the achievements I could. Whereas if I bought a game on the PS3, it was all about the story and enjoying my RPGs or diving into games for games. So I've never been a trophy chaser, if you will.
Yes. I feel like I always want to be, but then when I look at what it entails, I'm like, oh man, that seems like a lot of work.
I mean, they can be for some games.
Yeah, I think I like finding the kind of secret, the hidden trophies. The ones that you have to just kind of figure out, and so those are more fun to me.
Congratulations, you whacked this wall 37 times exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it went as far as
you couldn't.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's it.
Go ahead, Caleb.
No, that was
Oh,
it. I just like the kind of the one-offs. I don't like getting all of them.
I was gonna say I used to go as far as looking up on not Reddit but other blogs and stuff on the Xbox. I was that hooked. I had to know what the secret achievements were. The first thing when I launched a game, I'd look at the achievement list and then note down the things I had to do, in certain levels or certain things. It was bad. So I hit a milestone years ago of 100,000 gamer score, and I said that was the end. I achieved a milestone. I never will hit a million, but I hit 100,000 and I was pretty happy. Around that time, there was actually a guy, when Titanfall came out, was around the time I got my 100,000 gamer score. There was a guy that, with Titanfall, hit a million gamer score. So I thought that was kind of neat.
Wow.
Yeah, incredible. To this day, I think I have 130 or 140,000 gamer score, just because I still play games, obviously, but I'm not in the sense of urgency to get all the achievements. But yeah, that's my number 2 for my top 10 list. Caleb, let's close our top 10 list out. What is your number 1?
Actually, Real quick, I just want to throw this out on the topic of gamer scores and platinums and all that. Caleb, you were talking a minute ago about how some of them can take a ridiculously long time to get.
Yeah.
My parting thought on that was I did get the platinum on Assassin's Creed Origins, and I think I clocked a total of like 160 hours in that game to get all the trophies.
Good
Wow.
God.
Yeah.
While we're on hours, Travis, how many hours did you play Fallout 4?
400 hours probably.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And I still
So
didn't
many
complete
hours.
everything.
All right. So on to my
go ahead,
number,
sorry.
my number one. It's a game that you can only play on the PS4.
What?
No,
Yep.
I don't believe you. Is it Play?
It's not the Playroom. It is Until Dawn.
Oh, I should have known that. I should have known that.
For me, it's one that I don't know. I feel a certain way about a lot of things, like just because there's some people that if the ending of a game or if the ending of a movie aren't good or don't make you feel happy about it, that it's not a good game or movie. I feel different in the fact that if a game or a movie or something makes you feel a certain way, then it's probably a good game. And so there are so many times in Until Dawn where like I'd walk up on those little totem things and I would not want to flip it over because I would not want to see what's on the back of it. I wouldn't want to see somebody die or, when there's those kind of interview sections where he's asking you, what are you more afraid of? I didn't want to answer because I knew no matter what I picked, they were going to find a way to scare me with it. It's one that I only played through once and I'm very happy with it. But man, just the sheer joy of like, I don't know, always getting scared and not wanting to do things and finish things. And, the way that the plot kind of twisted and turned, not were things I didn't expect it to be. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's one that is on my top of the list.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
I'm glad that I could surprise you all.
I'm just mad because I knew that. I should have known.
Yeah, you ready to be mad all over again?
Yeah,
I know.
Hit me.
Because you should have known that my number one was 2018's Spider-Man.
Oh, I knew it.
We voted for that.
It was emotional.
That was our game of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, you and I both voted for that game of the year, and it was my number one on my game of the decade.
Yeah.
I almost thought about putting it on yours too, Locke, but I'm like, I don't know why. Jeez.
Now, like I said, God of War would have been a fair bet, and I have, even since the Game of the Decade episode, done a fair bit of waffling over which one I think is truly better, and I find myself always coming back to the fact that I love God of War as a franchise, and the new God of War is an amazing entry in that franchise, but comparing the two 100% standalone, I played all the way through Spider-Man twice because I wanted the platinum. The first time I played it, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about the web swinging, and I know there's going to be a bunch of item hunting, and I don't know if I want to commit myself to that, doing all that bullcrap and doing it on the hardest difficulty. And then, ultimately it turns out you can't even do it on the highest difficulty until you beat it the first time.
Yep.
But I can't bring myself to put God of War above Spider-Man for that reason. Because just like you, Caleb, I spent forever just swinging around the city. Such a good game.
Very enjoyable.
Yeah.
All right, Travis.
What do you got, buddy?
So, none of us accurately picked each other's number one games, correct?
Yeah, not even a little.
No.
All right, so my number one, we talked about this. I spoke of this very highly in the launch episode. Infamous Second Son.
I am sincerely surprised that's your number one.
Really?
It all makes sense to me now. The frustrations of Battlestar All-Stars. The fact that they've messed up your favorite character from your favorite exclusive. It's all tying together now.
I don't know. Like, it was really difficult because, again, Spider-Man created a lot of moments and memories, and it was one of those games that my son wanted to try on a console for the first time. And now he's more frequently playing games, which is awesome. So, like, it was really difficult, but I just had such a positive experience with Infamous, and it was one of those first impressions of what the PS4 had and what was to come in this generation. And I think it left that big impact on me, and ultimately why it became my number one for this. Trevor in chat is pretty disappointed. Sorry, Trevor. Hey, like I said, I'm not discounting Spider-Man. You know, it was very close. Very close. So
Well, I think that's a great way to round it out. I feel like we all had a general idea of things that would be near the top. So it's like we do kind of know each other.
kinda.
I mean,
Maybe.
I was wildly wrong about yours, Caleb. Little Big Planet and Until Dawn could not possibly be any more different.
Yeah.
Again, in my defense, you and I have not actually had
We've never
nearly as
talked
much time.
Exactly.
So I think we should continue doing these podcasts to continue to learn more about each other.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
one reason to continue doing the podcast.
every milestone episode like this, well, I guess this isn't really a milestone, but lists like this, I guess we can continue and see if we can figure it out, you know?
Yeah, I'm down.
But our closing segment here on episode 105 of The Dosage is going to be, hey, Caleb.
What you doing?
What are you doing, man?
Did I say it?
Yeah, you said it, but I'm asking you. I want to know. We'll continue our same loop.
Oh, me? Oh, you want to know what
Yeah.
I'm doing? I'm sorry. I jumped the gun.
Yeah, no, you're good. I just want to, keep it going, keep it going.
So for me, I've been, let's see. I just turned 29 on the 20th.
Happy
just had
birthday.
I just had my 2-year wedding anniversary on the 27th.
Happy anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. So those are two small things. As far as the nerdy stuff, I've been really diving into Jedi Fallen Order. I'm really enjoying that. It's frustrating. I recently just turned the gameplay level down so I can enjoy it. And I have to worry about parrying as hard. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not in this for the glory. I'm just in it for the fun.
I'll be honest, I did the same.
Yeah. So
I didn't even bother starting above medium for that exact.
I was like, I can push the limits. This should be fine. And then like, there's such like a weird delay on the parrying that I'm like, all right, I can't handle it. And so I've been really enjoying that. I'm contemplating. I looked up online. There's like a way that you could quickly get to like the dual lightsaber thing, and so I'm thinking about maybe running and doing that for funness, but I haven't done that yet. Other than that, what else? I've been playing. I started playing Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Good call.
I started playing it, and then my wife came in the room and she's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "It's Luigi. You can play with me." And then I didn't know how far into the game you could start with Guigi, and so I was like, "Here, just grab a controller." And then like it's like minutes and minutes, and it's taking forever. I'm like, "I don't know where it is, but I'll find you once I get it." And now we're gonna play it together, or so she says. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, she really enjoyed it. It's fun. I think it's learning some of those mechanics. For her being not much of a gamer at all, the idea of just kind of scooping up the ghosts and then trying to maneuver that stick in the opposite direction of wherever they're at, that mechanic is a little bit difficult for someone who's still early on in gaming, I think. And so that was frustrating. But
the one piece of advice I'm going to give you is that there are a couple of sections where it's just going to be Guigi, including one whole boss fight.
So let me be Luigi is what you're saying?
Be prepared to counsel at the very least.
Yeah.
No, because I thankfully I played it through co-op with my buddy Kevin, and I was like, I'm so glad that we decided to play my game co-op so you could do all this.
That's funny.
But it's
so
good, yeah.
Other than that, I've been hanging out with one of my buddies that we used to live together with and played a lot of Smash Bros back then, and also PlayStation All Stars, but I won't go down that road. But Smash Bros a lot. So we came up with our own version of. Have you guys ever played Beerio Kart?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we came up with our own Smash Bros version that we call Beer Bash Bros, and so it's basically 4 lives. 4 lives. You don't get to see the percentage of damage tracking. and you have to finish your drink before the end of before you can win the game, and you can't drink and fight at the same time. And so with that, we built a stage, and I'll send it to you guys. It is quite the stage that we built to try and play this thing on. And I will say there are some certain parts that move into other certain parts that look like a specific shape that we have designed. So I'll shoot that your way, and this should be fun
That's
to glance.
I used to make stuff like that in Little Big Planet.
I don't know whether to be proud or ashamed of my association with you two right now.
Another thing I
Oh, yeah,
used to do with online and that, people would appear in that circle and then hop out into your world.
yeah.
So with the sticks and then R2L2, you can make the hands wave and stuff. Well, I made Sackboy, and as soon as people hopped in, made him have a sad face or like a crazy face, and then he was just whacking it.
Oh my god.
So just go poof, 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 poof. And then like we had this one instance where someone like were crying with their Sackboy and then they abandoned the world.
Oh my god.
It was just one of those gaming moments where like I wonder if they thought about this when they were developing this game.
I mean,
We
there's
just
gotta be someone who realized that was going to happen.
yeah, leave it to me.
Back to disappointed.
Other than that, I have quit my my journey to complete my Pokedex after they released those the new expansions. I'm like, that's why finish this Pokedex when it's just going to get even bigger later on. And so I decided to stop that so I can play my other games with little or less stress.
Yeah, your safe bet is to probably do a slow burn with that. I don't think we're gonna get a new entry in the Pokemon series this year, being 2020. If they're gonna do anything, which they're already doing, they're doing the Mystery Dungeon in March. For November, we'll probably see another like, hey Pikachu, or Pikachu. What was that? Let's go Pikachu. I keep thinking,
Let's Go
hey you,
Pikachu.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
that was the N64 one. But we'll
Yeah.
probably see something of that sort, but I don't think we'll see another full-fledged like sequel to the ones we just got, especially with the season pass thing that they're doing.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So that's what I'm doing. Hey Rob,
Yeah.
what you doing?
Well, I mean, as I've already pimped out repeatedly through this episode, if you want to see what I'm doing, you should go back and check out that stream that Kevin and I did yesterday. Can't recommend it enough for comedy value. But it is actually sincerely a great kind of example of what I've been up to. I've been pretty heavily refocusing my gaming habits towards more of the I don't want to necessarily say indie, even though it is, I guess, in cases accurate. I've been playing a lot more of the smaller games. And I've kind of said this before. I don't find myself drawn to the bigger experiences quite as much as I used to, and I think a big part of it is, as we've all discussed, at the stage of our lives, time is hard to find.
Yes.
And you got to balance sequestering yourself with a video game against actual human interaction, which is just wildly overrated in my opinion. But no, beyond that, we actually have started getting back into board games on the weekend. My wife scooped up a game called Trash Pandas,
Oh,
which
come
is
on.
a card game about raccoons.
Come on. Really?
Yeah.
Any other kind of quick games you'd recommend that people haven't heard of?
I mean, if you want something quick, especially for a board game, we also recently picked up and played a game called 5 Minute Marvel. Literally, you get a 5 minute timer, and it's a cooperative card game where the only point is to beat the boss.
Oh,
And every level, it's 5 minutes. Whether you win or lose, it's 5 minutes. Period.
that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, so it's pretty slick. We also scooped up the Rick and Morty D&D
Ooh.
pre-built campaign. It's all right if you dig D&D, which I'm finding at this stage of my life I like less than I remembered. But it's a thing. I mean, it's really good for D&D. You know what I mean? If you like D&D, you'll like, especially if you like Rick and Morty, you should like this. It's very D&D. So, but yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been playing a lot of these goofy, smaller indie title video games, and then I've been trying to get back into board games a little bit.
Nice.
So with that, hey Travis. What are you doing?
Well, let me tell you something, brother. I'm continuing my journey into milestone territory again with NAW every Thursday night on DNA's Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/dose of nerd acumen. Tune in 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Thursday night. So we just did our schedule for that. We were doing 2 nights a week for a while. We had like a developmental brand on Tuesdays and the main show on Thursdays. With ups and downs of people's commitments on the roster, we've decided to move forward right now with just 1 night a week to kind of see how things go with that. A little bit more in detail with that, I'm obsessive compulsive, and I have a milestone that I want to hit for 200 on the actual 2-year date of it. So ultimately, I'm trying to line my thing up with that as well. So that was also another motivating factor. So, yeah, me and Locke had a good laugh about that.
Yeah.
Besides that, over this past weekend, I took my oldest son to see PJ Masks live at the local university, and that was an experience. Really cool. Yeah.
for a kid.
Yeah.
He would not stop raving about it all day Sunday.
You know it. It was a thing that happened. I'm glad he had fun, and I'm glad I got to take him to that. So I went with my sister-in-law and my niece, and we had a lot of fun. Besides that, got together with Rob on Sunday. We watched Royal Rumble, so that was nice to watch a pay-per-view with a friend. I haven't done that in a while, and cool stuff happened if you're a wrestling fan. My personal
Possibly
favorite,
the coolest thing.
yeah, my personal favorite Edge returned after a almost 9-year hiatus, career-ending injury. So that was a pretty big deal. I was pretty stoked. As far as games that I'm playing, I hopped back into GTA 5 because it's on Game Pass right now. So I played that on the Xbox One, just messed around. Didn't really accomplish much. I just kind of want to drive around and screw around. Something quick and easy to pick up for maybe a half hour. And then I jump in and out of COD on Xbox One as well. So if anyone wants to ever play, hit me up. Again, Gravity Wells the gamer tag, 1 and a 3 instead of an I and an E. So it's fun. It's just one of those things, like, I'm trying to figure out my schedule on playing games. I think that's the biggest challenge, right, of being a parent and being older and having a full-time job, is really finding that time. Like, you get such small windows. What do you really want to sink your time into? And if you don't have more than an hour, I generally avoid the big RPGs now, which sucks because there's a lot that I truly want to play, and there are a bunch on the Switch that I have just collecting dust that I need to get back into. But again, with turning down Nada one night and having a little bit more free time, hopefully I can dive back into more games and even go as far as streaming some of that content. Also with that, the relaunch of Classics Lounge. So we're gearing up for another episode of that coming soon based on the community vote.
Very exciting.
So, yeah. Caleb, you've been on one. Rob, you've also been on one. So you guys are both part of the history of Classics Lounge. I was excited to bring that back because ultimately, if you guys know anything about me, I'm a fan of retro games. That's, where it all started. So love talking about them, and I love playing them.
Yeah, I agree, and it's not worth doing this kind of stuff if it's not going to be the stuff that we enjoy to do. So I'm very happy to see you, make the moves you need to make so that you can make this happen. That's made me very happy for you and for us and for the listeners.
Yeah, it adds variety to the channel again. I think it was very much needed. There is, like I said, 175 episodes of NAW out there. So if you like wrestling content, you're in the right place. But if you don't, you got to wonder what the heck else we have done here on this channel. Because I promise you we have. We're going to be doing more so of a variety of things. So stay tuned for that. And I'm excited to get back into the variety of content again with the channel and with everyone involved with the channel here. I think 2020 has got a lot of great things to come. We have a lot of good ideas on the table too. So, any other parting thoughts?
Excited. No, just a reminder. Kind of one last plug. My plan is to go ahead and start. We're going to call it season 2, specifically season Dose. You'll learn more if you'll start to listen of Dose of Nerd Audio, starting in February. So next week, look out for it.
Awesome.
Cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, though, this has been... Go ahead, Rob, before I close. Interrupting you.
I was just going to say, and then you can keep your eyes peeled for me and probably Kevin. We are trying to put together a list of more co-op games similar to Adventure Pals, so you can feel free to hang out with us and catch those bizarrely voiced shenanigans. We don't have a schedule or anything nailed down for that, but it's we're working on it. So
I dig it. And if you missed the episode last night, Venture Pals, do yourself a favor and watch that one. So good, so good. Quick joke, maybe two. We'll see.
Okay.
Knock knock.
Come on.
who's there?
Uh-oh.
Interrupting cow.
Moo.
Moo. Yeah. All right. Now I got another one for you. Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. It's gonna be another knock knock joke. You start it.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
It's a me.
See?
Oh.
There's such confusion. I love it. Anyways,
It's like we're 6 again.
right. Gotta love it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Dosage episode 105, the top 10 PS4 exclusives available on podcast platforms, which if you're listening, you probably already know. But if you don't know, if you're in chat right now, live on twitch.tv/doseofnerdacumen, find us on facebook.com/doseofnerdacumen. We also have a group for NAW and Dose of Nerdacumen. Join the chat, be part of the fun, share some nerdy news. We are also available on Google and Apple, Stitcher, Breaker, any of your favorite podcast platforms. So you have a preference, please use your preference. Don't go out of the way for us. Also on Spotify, which is my preference, as well as Apple. But again, it's been a pleasure serving you all with this tasty voice of Caleb. No, you're not going to hit him with a one-liner?
No, I did everything ready. I wasn't prepared.
I love putting you on the spot. Anyways, until next time, again, make sure to check out our weekly show, NAW, as well as our other content in our archives available on youtube.com/doseofnerdacumen. Thank you, Caleb. And thank you, Rob, again, for another fun episode. Can't wait till 106. Don't know what we're doing yet, but stay posted. We'll come up with something clever and fun for you all. Until next time, everyone, have a wonderful time.
Thanks for watching.